She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We are blessed that you chose to join us for at least this next hour that we have the program. I have a question for you. Have you found that since we have become this very digital society, have you found that you have deeper, richer relationships? Or are you like 40% of Americans who say they are lonely? That's nearly half. Nearly half of our population is reporting that they are lonely. I definitely have noticed that since we've gotten these little computers in our hands, small little devices that sit in our pocket or in our purse, people have a tendency, even at the dinner table, even in a restaurant where the family's together in a restaurant, even a couple who are supposed to be having a date night, and yet both are separately on their cell phones, whether they're Facebooking or Instagram or reading an article, whatever the case may be, their nose is involved in something other than the person, the human being that they're sitting across from. You know, I think it'll be a very interesting thing to see about divorce rate, how it's going to happen or what that might change to be in the next decade, as well as suicide in kids, financial bigger messes, because a lack of cohesiveness, a lack of unity, a lack of intimacy in relationships at work and at home. Today, we are talking about something very, very important. You see, if you want to succeed, you can't be isolated. So many people have isolated themselves. Are you one of those who run and hide when things get tough? When you don't know what to do? Do you pull yourself back into a corner? The corner of pornography, the corner of gambling, shopping, whatever place it is that you seem to withdraw to, drugs, alcohol, could even be being a workaholic. You cannot have long-lasting success, and I have to tell you, you and I both know that what I just described is not success. And here on the Dani Johnson Show, we talk about what true success looks like. In fact, we give you the opportunity to define success for you. What does it look like for you? Do you want to be the rich, miserable son of a gun on some hill by himself who has to pay people to just be in his life? Because his wife, in fact, the last 4 have left him. Children want nothing to do with him. 2 of them are in rehab. His health is a mess, or her health is a mess. They have no joy. But boy, on the outside, everything looks really, really good. You see, that is our society's form of success. I want you to define it for you. So that's what we're talking about today. My coworker, Mary, found this amazing quote by Mother Teresa, who, by the way, she inspires me tremendously. Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty. So true, isn't it? And we have 40% of the American population, I can't imagine what it is around the rest of the world, where people are reporting that they're lonely. They feel isolated. And to be honest with you, most people who are lonely, they put themselves in that place. Yes, I just said that. Yes, if you're feeling lonely, there are steps that you took to put you in that place. If you were to backtrack and look, wow, what happened? Did you get hurt? Were you disappointed? Did somebody not come through? Did somebody make a promise that they did not fulfill? Did something not turn out the way that you wanted to? Did things start to get, agitated, kind of stressful? What is your knee-jerk reaction in stress? To run and hide or to blow up? What is it? If it's running and hiding, it leads to something that can be very, very dangerous. With the world that is digital today, with our society being a society that it really is all centered around self, it leads to isolation, and isolation leads to darkness, and darkness is where there is a brewing of all addictions. Darkness, that isolation, is a place where you feel unwanted, unloved, you feel like you don't matter, and you bring that attitude to work. Have you ever suffered from something like this? Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever isolated yourself? I want to know, what was the result of it? Did it lead to a good place? Did it lead to something that was fruitful? Did it lead to something that was beneficial? Did you get promoted in your job by isolating yourself from everybody else that's in the workplace? Did your marriage improve by isolating yourself from your mate? Isolating yourself into your bedroom or into your cave, your man cave or your woman cave, keeping yourself nose in the books, isolating yourself. You see, I have to fight myself against that. My natural personality is, I love being alone with earplugs in, with the best book I think that's ever been written since the beginning of time. That's like my favorite place, and I can be that person. I don't like to watch movies. I love to be in that place where there's quiet. But when we let that place come as a higher priority over our family and not being engaged in conversation and not pulling conversation from other people in the family, especially even at work, that we are just kind of keeping to ourselves, doing our own thing, working on our own goals, keeping my nose out of anybody else's life, I'm going to keep out of everything. This also doesn't help you get promoted. So if you want to succeed, I'm so sorry to tell you, you're going to have to come out of a shell. You're going to have to come out of your isolated place and get involved with other people's lives, because this actually is what people want. They want relationship. By our human nature, we want it. Even though we've been hurt by people, even though we have a long track record of people not coming through and people being untrustworthy, there's still a desire in us, even if it's a little ember, there's still a desire in us to have good, solid, intimate relationships with others. So we're talking about this today. If you've ever felt lonely, unwanted, isolated, what that actually feels like, what it actually led to, so that all of us can learn from it, because there are signs, I promise you, there's signs of us being isolated, and people who are isolated don't even know that they've done it to themselves. They don't even know what the result of it is and how dark it actually can get. So we're going over to the phones. We've got Jenny Smith from Oklahoma on the line. Jenny, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. So tell me, have you ever been isolated? Have you ever felt lonely? What was the result of that?
Thank you, Dani, for having me.
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The way I've actually always suffered from depression since I was a small child, and it kind of just stemmed into adulthood, and it just overflowed into adulthood. I've always had this dream of being a singer-songwriter, so I started kind of getting into that, and my depression, I kind of put it all into that, and I didn't realize, but there were a lot of dark songs I was writing because I was depressed. And
wow,
as I was chasing this dream of mine, I was getting closer to my dream, and I started getting these nice gigs, and people were recognizing me, and I was getting further from God because I was trying to do it without Him. And my family started falling apart, and I hit rock bottom, and it wasn't until I hit my knees and gave the will over to God that, I surrendered everything to Him. I prayed a prayer. I poured out my heart to Him in this prayer. I begged Him for a burning desire to know Him.
Yes.
And He gave me that. I'm not kidding you.
Yes.
He answered my prayer, and ever since, I've just been hungry. And my husband, he too, our relationship has been fixed.
Wow.
And I wouldn't say it's perfect, but
nobody has anytime two humans are together, there is imperfection.
Right. The scriptures have just opened up our hearts and are healing us. And we read them daily now. We got the CDs. We're playing them in our cars. Our children are constantly being exposed to them.
Yes.
The Word has given us hope and a purpose, and actually superseded my dreams even.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Here's what I've learned: when you draw near to God, reading His Word, and you pray, and you have obedience to His commandments, and He draws near to us. You draw near to Him, He draws near to you,
So
and when you get closer to Him, you get His peace, which is, as you know, one of the fruits of the Spirit. And when you have His peace, you can't exactly have depression, because
it's true.
You can't have depression when you have peace. So
That's right.
I think you need to draw close close to the Spirit, and He just draws close to you and heals.
You know what I find so interesting, because I know that there's someone that's listening right now saying, well, I've tried that, and it hasn't worked. And I just, when I read the Bible, I just go to sleep. And, it just seems like some old book that is, totally not relevant today. And I remember feeling that way in my early walk with Him. But there's something that you said that was so powerful that changes it all. And that is, God, give me a heart for you. I pray that same prayer all the time, because it's very, very easy for our hearts. The Bible says that the heart is deceptive above all else, that it's evil above all else. And so our own hearts as they are, and our own hearts in their own condition, even though people can say, no, my heart isn't bad. Like, you're deceived, buddy. You're deceived. You think you have a good heart? You are deceived. You are so deceived.
Exactly.
There's always some kind of muck and nastiness that is inside of us, and it's important for us to confess that stuff. But when you confess that I don't love you enough, I don't care about you enough, I'm not even paying attention to you. So you basically said that the part of that happened for your destruction of losing it all was because you isolated yourself from God.
Right.
And that led to depression. And that depression sabotaged your success. And then when you finally fell to your knees and said, I need to know you. I need you. I want to love you more. I want to know you more. That's when He began to give you new eyes to show you Him. And He showed you Him through His Word. And I'm telling you what, I'm a big believer in reading the Bible cover to cover, Jenny. Cover to cover. Not this nonsense of how, unfortunately, majority of the churches teach us to deal with the Bible, which is, just open it wherever it is you land, start reading. No. Why do people read the Bible like a dictionary? Read it from Genesis all the way to Revelation, and you will learn so much about who your Father is. You learn about people. You learn about business. You learn about health. You learn about parenting. You learn about being married. You learn about love. You learn about sex. You learn about paying off debt. You learn about how to prosper greatly in there. You also learn how to mess your whole stinking life up. You learn a lot about leadership.
Precept, line upon line.
Yes. I mean, you'll learn how to be a bad leader. You can learn how to be a phenomenal leader. It's all inside of this book. And when you prayed that prayer, He opened your eyes and gave you a love for His Word. And His Word does not return void. And it really does transform us and fill us with peace and harmony and love and gentleness and goodness and self-control. Even in the bad, hard times of our life, we can bear the fruit of the Spirit. Jenny, thank you so much for sharing with us your story. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
When we come back, there's a lie going around that keeps people lonely, broke, and empty, and they don't even know why. Do you believe this lie? Find out next on The Dani Johnson Show.
Do you dream about feeling more confident, more beautiful, more powerful? But instead, you're that girl that never learned to do their makeup, and now you feel lost in a sea of YouTube makeup tutorials. Or you're that new mom that can't get enough sleep at night and just wants to feel pretty again. Or the busy professional that wants to magnetize brand new clients and get more respect in the office. From the boardroom to the bedroom, xmhbeauty.com will help you. Our company has a proven track record of making beauty available on any budget, from celebrities to girls just like you and me. Our live classes, step-by-step tutorials, and insider secrets will have you standing out from the crowd. Go to xmhbeauty.com/Dani today to get your free gift from us. That's xmhbeauty.com/DANI.
After plugging in the first steps to success, I've been able to pay off over $25,000 in debt. I've been able to live my life to the fullest and also excel in my career where I am sought out for different positions and opportunities.
I went from making no money to I made $13,000 extra using Dani's principles in that side business venture, and $104,000 that first year. I walked away from my military career after 8 years. It took me 5 years to pay off $292,000 in debt. Today, we're completely debt-free, and I've made a six-figure income every single year. The last several years, over $250,000 a year. Every single bit of it is because of what I learned at First Steps to Success. I would definitely recommend you get to the very next First Steps to Success event, no matter what it takes.
I was able to learn some great skills to pay off debt, I've paid off $38,000 in 27 months. My relationships are more genuine, they are more real. And my business, we've just now tripled our income in the business in just 2 short years.
My business is completely turned around. I'm now leading a big team in my business. I've been able to pay off some debt. I've found my spirituality again. So that's probably the most important thing that I've gotten since attending is just building back up my relationship with God. And since then, everything else has been turning around.
Since attending First Steps to Success and training with Dani Johnson, I've paid off in 11 months over $14,000 in debt. I've gone on 5 vacations and I've gotten 2 raises at my job. So I don't know where you're at all, but all I know is if you want a positive change in your life, I highly recommend you get to the next First Steps to Success. Register today.
We paid off over $35,000 in debt in 8 months, which I'm glad my wife did drag me to the event. And I've been very thankful for all the teachings that Dani and the community has given us.
Since plugging in, my husband and I are completely in love with each other. Our marriage has been completely restored. We've paid off almost $500,000 in debt. My life has completely changed. We have beautiful twin infants. We have enough money to do what we want, go where we want. We travel around the world, and I have hope and a reason to live again. So I would tell you to get to the next First Steps to Success. Get registered right now and join me there.
It's time for a checkup from the neck up. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't need people. People just hurt people. So if I have no people, I have no problems. It's really simple. Listen, friend, that is an absolute equation for failure. That is not the equation for success. Your personal truth, yes, has told you, and your history has told you, that people hurt people. Yes, but you've also had people in your life who have blessed you. You see, what you focus on is what you get more of. And if you want to succeed, you have to embrace the fact that people are always going to be in your life. You cannot succeed without them. Listen, money comes from people. Yes, money comes from people. It doesn't grow on trees and it doesn't grow in banks. It comes from people. And if you feel that people are nothing but tools for hurting you, you will not have good people relationships in the marketplace, and you certainly not have good people relationships at home, which means that you will not succeed and hit your dreams. You cannot become the successful person you desire under this complete, ridiculous idea that you can do it on your own. Not possible. It takes a team to succeed. It takes a team at home. It takes a team at work. It takes a team. You do need people. So the issue is that you have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing with people working or is it not? Because sometimes we can lack good people skills and lack an understanding of what motivates other people so that we can serve them better. But you might be thinking, oh, why do I want to serve anybody? They all are terrible. They all suck. Okay, listen. First of all, I have to tell you that used to be me. Seriously, friend, that was me. I was that person that hated people. And you know what's so funny? Is that I got backed in to loving people. How? Because I was so greedy. I was told by the very first millionaire I had ever met and the first millionaire I ever had the chance to learn from, where he said from the stage, he was doing a training seminar, and he said that we had to learn to love people in order to succeed. And I just sat there and I went, I'm done. I am totally going to fail. I hate people. I hate them. Why? Come on. I had a terrible past. The man that I thought was my father, that I found out when I was almost 18 that he wasn't, brutally, violently beat the heck out of me, my 2 sisters, and my mother. Brutally. abused us verbally, emotionally, mentally, physically. He was horrible. I trusted no man. I was molested from the time I was 3 till I was 16. My mother did nothing about it. She didn't know what to do about it. So right away, when she did nothing, I made up all these decisions in my head about women and about my mom. And because of the thing with my dad, I made all kinds of decisions about men being all the same and that I couldn't trust anybody and that everyone just hurts each other and people are just mean. I had made up all of these decisions at a very young age and it affected my work life. And so when I was sitting in that seminar and heard that in order to succeed wildly in the marketplace, I had to learn more about people than I do myself, more than I do about my product, more about the company, more about my compensation opportunities. I had to learn more about people than I did the market. And I'd be unusually successful. I'm like, I hate people. Why would anyone want to study that which they hate? And that second statement, that I have to learn to love people? Listen. My hate for people ended me up homeless 25 years ago. Homeless! $2.03 to my name, $35,000 debt, 50 pounds overweight, miserable person who was suicidal, and I just knew the rest of my life would always be like that. But 2 years later, I was a millionaire. Today, multi-millionaire. How? Want to know? I'll give it to you right here. Free book. Go get it. It's a real one. Okay? Almost 300 pages. First Steps to Wealth. Step by step how I went from homeless to millions to multi-millionaire, who, by the way, uses 100% of the profits from this company straight to the extreme poor, the orphan, the sick, and the widow. I don't even take a salary, even though I should take a salary. I earned the salary by far. First Steps to Wealth. Call the office right now, 866-760-8255. Go to DaniJohnson.com. Request your free copy. You pay the shipping. I'll send you the $15 book. Start learning how you can dig yourself out of that situation. God bless. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
We own our own business, and we were working like crazy. We have actually 3 kids and 1 on the way right now. And for me, I was working like all the time. In fact, for the last 10 years, I've been working probably close to 80 hours a week, and no time with the family. Just totally, really, actually, you know, it was pretty awful. In fact, we were really struggling with the family dynamic. And the business wasn't growing. Just felt like it just wasn't gonna happen.
Previous to having kids, I had helped with the business, but then after we started having kids with each child, kind of had backed out from that more. And then really just had kind of grown to resent a lot of what was going on in the business because I just felt like it was competition for me and for my family, for my kids. I just felt like we had to constantly be competing with his work. We just felt really stuck in all aspects of life. Once he started really plugging in and I started plugging in, the main difference that I saw was just his priorities really started changing. Like I had never really even seen him try to implement time management, really, you know? I mean, it was always just like, this is what I have to do, this is business, this is how we do it here. Our communication skills just started being so much more open between us just from spending that little bit of time together. because he hadn't been devoting any specific time to me, literally. I was not on the calendar. There was no, I mean, we had time together, but I didn't feel honored or prioritized, or I didn't feel like anything was specifically for me. So that just like totally changed my view of him and just me wanting to support him. Just that one thing was a huge thing for me, just him putting me on his calendar. And it immediately changed the stress level in our home because there wasn't competition. You know, I didn't feel like I was having to compete for his time. Immediately, I just felt like so much more, I had just a whole different level of respect for him. Seriously, like it was like an immediate change.
From a business perspective, after plugging into First Steps and Dynasty, we actually cut my hours back. I cut my hours back to no more than 40 hours a week. Cutting my hours back to 40 was kind of stressful, but I cut it back and I found that I actually became more productive. And our business, within a year, we actually raised up 3 new six-figure income earners within our team, which just feels awesome. Our income has exploded, and we have more free time to spend with Heather and the babies, and it's just it's been amazing.
Yeah.
How much have we paid off?
We paid off $95,000 debt in 24 months. That'd be great.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, nobody wants me around anyway. It's better off if I just keep to myself. Friend, that is a dangerous thought process. Where does it lead? We're talking about the powerful spirit of isolation. Yeah, isolation can destroy your life. You were created for relationship. Even if you're that type of person that you love numbers and facts and figures and you love to be organized and IT and all of that kind of stuff, you still were created for relationship. All of us were. And if you are isolating yourself away from people, you're only hurting your life. So, are you currently isolated? What result is it having on your life? Let's look at this because you desire to succeed, which is why you listen to this show. You want to be successful. In order to have success, you got to have people. People help to bring success. So, how do you get yourself out of that situation? Joining me right now, Lorene Parash from Pennsylvania. Lorene, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. So, you are living in an isolated situation right now, right?
I am, and thank you for having me. Yes, I am.
Yes. So how did you get there?
Well, I came back home about 11 years ago to take care of my parents. Mm-hmm. My parents are older, and I've been home for 11 years, and I have my own home-based business now, so I'm home with my business, which can be isolating.
Yes.
And now I take care of my mom. She's 89. My dad passed away.
Wow.
And she doesn't drive, so I drive, and I didn't realize what had happened in these last 11 years.
Yep.
Where I lost sight of me
Yep.
and my dreams
Yep.
and my plans and my life.
Yep.
And I have a lot of guilt for feeling that way because I feel blessed that I can take care of my parents.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A lot of people don't have that privilege. And I'm thankful that I do.
I think that everyone has the privilege. They just choose to neglect their parents.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I have a girlfriend, like her mom passed away years ago, so she never had the opportunity
to take care of her
mom.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so let's talk about this because, isolation can be a habit. And in isolation, we can become really resentful, bitter,
yes,
lonely,
yes,
losing any sight of hope or a dream. And like you said, man, 11 years have just flown by. Now, it's one thing to take care of your parents. However, it's not healthy for you as a person to not have any kind of an outlet that's away from the parents. Whether that is weekly taking a dance class, getting out and doing something in the community, even bringing mom with you to go do something in the community. Because it sounds to me like there's 2 depressed people in a house.
Right.
And that's not healthy for mom, and that's not healthy for you at all. And so therefore, we now are in separate rooms doing our own thing, and there's no life coming in from anywhere. And so what are you doing to fix this? I mean, the home-based business, I think, is great, but that's a lot of work online, right? Alone in a room with a phone.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to get yourself out of this situation?
Well, you had mentioned it earlier about addictions and you're being drawn into a corner of an addiction or depression or shopping. And when you said shopping, I'm like, oh my gosh, how is that an addiction?
Oh,
Like,
yes.
clearly, it is. So thanks for pointing that one out. I shop a lot.
Which, by the way, is very isolating as well.
It is. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. I don't know.
No.
I'm going to try to defend it. So.
No, exactly. It's not fun when you've got credit card debt.
Right. Which, thank you for your War on Debt program. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's not fun when you are trying to fill a hole. You see, you need people. You need people. And shopping with strangers isn't going to cut it.
Right.
So here's what I want you to look at. There are so many things that are going on in your local community. Now, listen, it is a massive stretch for me to leave my house. It's my house or the office, my house or the office, my house or the office. I am so habitual, and my normal tendency is to be alone. I love it. Even though I have 5 kids and soon to be 8 grandkids, my tendency is to be alone. That seems to be my way. It ain't a good way. It's not healthy. And so are you plugging into a church?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have an amazing church. Absolutely.
Are you the one that comes in right when it starts and leaves the minute it ends?
Maybe. You busted me.
So what's so amazing about your church that you do not show up early to have any relationship and you leave the minute it's over? You mean you like the show they put on for 2 hours every Sunday?
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I love to praise and worship, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's safe. It's just you and God.
Right.
Lorene, you're dying inside. Lorene, you're giving up your healthy, youthful years. I know you're like, you don't know how old I am. No, yes, I do. Your mom's 89. You are my age or a little older. So here's what I know. You're giving up your youthful years. You're giving up your strong years by being alone. So here's your new instruction. Do you want to break this? God did not put you on earth for you to be alone. At all. So you got to ask yourself this question. Why do I avoid people? Why do I avoid intimacy? And if you are one who loves to worship, then you'll have no problem right as soon as I'm done with you on this phone call asking God, God, show me, why am I afraid of intimate relationships? Why am I afraid to be vulnerable in front of other people? Why am I afraid to be involved in other people's lives? What am I hiding from? That's the question I want you to ask him. I want you to know on that. And then ask him, what shall I do? Daily, you got to get out of that house. Daily. So I'm sure that if you have a great church, at least they put on a good show because you don't really know the people. You have no relationship with them, so you really don't know if it's a really good church. There's probably all kinds of programs that are socially involving in that place that could use a good person like you, a good woman like you to help. Whether it's the coffee shop that they might have or it might be meals being taken to other places. It could be some youth thing that's going on. Just get involved. There's things inside your community. There's art galleries, there's all kinds of shows. I'm not talking about go to the show by yourself, but you have a couple of people that you know and just say, I've got a homework assignment. I got to get out of my little comfort zone of being by myself. Let's go for a walk. And start talking to other people and letting them talk to you. Because isolation is going to kill you, and it cannot have your life. Lorraine, it cannot have your life. There's a whole new life waiting for you on the other side of you asking God, why am I afraid of people? Why am I afraid of intimacy? You see, if you can't have intimacy with people, there's a good chance you don't have intimacy with Him either. Because it's out of the overflow of your intimacy with Him that causes you to love people, causes you to reach out to people, causes you to want to tell people about Him, that causes you to share the goodness of who He is, that causes you to want to help see the captives set free. You see, out of that intimacy with Him, He gives you His heart, and His heart is very intimately in love with those humans you are avoiding. So I want you to ask that question. By the way, do you know how I know that question? Because I had to ask the question myself. The only reason why you feel really naked right now is because I lived your life. And I have to put things in place to make sure I don't go back to living that life, because that is my natural personality, to be isolated and alone. Lorraine, I'm really, really proud of you, and I want an update on Facebook 1 week from today, please. This is Dani Johnson. We're talking about breaking free from that isolation. It's a habit. It's not a good one. It keeps us from success. It keeps us all from our wildest dreams coming true. It keeps us from passionate, loving, harmonious relationships. It keeps us stuck. It puts us in debt, destroys our earning potential. You don't want it. It's a disease. You want what's on the other side of it. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Coming up next, are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Dani's going to show you how you might be fooling yourself on The Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered, because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, first steps to success in creating dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
And prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college. And I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
If you've ever wanted to make millions, change the world, be the voice for the voiceless, and have a blast doing it, then you need to spend some time with this lady right here. She's been doing it for years, and she'll show you how. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Iron sharpens iron. One person is iron to another, and one person can sharpen another. But if you're living an isolated life, the best of you has not even come out yet. The best of you, the best of your character, the person that you have the ability to become, hasn't even come out if you're isolated. Isolation seems to be an epidemic in our country today. And I know you desire to succeed. You've maybe stumbled upon this show via radio on the Truth Network or on television with the UA Network, or maybe you stumbled on it through YouTube or on our website, DaniJohnson.com. Today's message is so important for you. I once lived a very isolated life, largely because of the decisions I made as a young person with all the abuse that was in the household I was raised in. All of the turmoil, the torment. It was a crazy way to grow up. And all of us have a childhood, but we don't have to stay there. Mine produced decisions that I made that people can't be trusted, and I'm going to do it by myself, and I don't need anybody, and I can't trust anybody, and you know, my life always is going to suck if people are in it, so I'm going to figure out how to succeed without any people. Came quickly to the revelation that it is totally impossible to succeed without people. It requires relationships. So we're going to the phones. We got Stacy Luck from Vancouver, Washington. Stacy, what has been your experience with isolation? Hello, Stacy, are you there? Did you mute yourself? Your line is open. Hello, Stacy, are you getting cold feet? Okay, we're moving on over to Lauren Willett from Pennsylvania. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi. So what part has isolation played in your life?
Isolation, it's like, I don't even know where to start. When I think isolation, I think of misery loves company. when I went through times in my life of isolation, I felt like I didn't know who I was.
Yep.
So I hid from the world.
Yep.
So I tried to find people to make me feel happy. But when you don't know yourself, you're only going to find like-minded people.
That don't know themselves and don't know you.
Exactly. So I wound up in the whole party situation of just constantly being drunk or high or something, and being in a room full of people and still feeling like the loneliest person in the world.
And you were in a room full of people who were drunk and high, too.
Yeah.
Everyone's
like,
drunk and high.
whatever.
Yeah, everyone's drunk and high, and everyone feels alone. Wow, that sounds awesome. But you know what,
Exactly.
Lauren? I have never heard anyone quite put it like that. But that is really true. No, it's totally true. When I was doing the same thing, right, when I was homeless, I was trying to drown myself. I was in so much self-destruction. I'm drinking like crazy. I'm doing drugs, and I'm totally lonely.
Yep.
And it wasn't working. Yes.
No, none of it was working, just depressing yourself more, putting these suppressants in you. How are you supposed to find yourself when you're just, like, out of your mind? And
well, you find yourself in bed with someone you don't know is what you do.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And then you're like, oh, this person wants my attention, this person wants my attention. You think, like, it's going to fill some void and you're not going to be lonely. But actually you end up full of regrets and being even lonelier than ever.
So even having sex with other people, right, who on the surface seem like they want you, right?
Yeah.
And even then, even sex with that empty person and you're empty, you still walk away from what is supposed to be an intimate, I'm trying to keep it clean, what's supposed to be an intimate, clean's not coming to me. Anyway, an intimate episode is totally not intimate at all.
No, it's really not. It's not what it's supposed to be about. But when you're young, and you don't know better, you know, you just keep
doing it.
Going into bed, another bed to another bed, you know, and it's a never-ending cycle. And I found that I just one day woke up and said, you know, these people aren't really my friends, and they don't have my back. I was in situations where I was like, hey, can you help me out of this? And they weren't there. So I was like, you know what? I isolated myself from people that, you know, I do not like people at all. People are just ridiculous. I don't need anybody. I think I started coming back to, I guess, socialization through animals. I started horseback riding, finding myself again, talking to them even though they're not really talking to you. You know, you feel like they're talking to your spirit in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know, I could get totally lost in this, but I feel like basically if you know yourself more and you expand yourself, you build on your relationship with yourself, you become less lonely.
Yes.
You find your passions, you find what drives you, and good things will come to you. Now, one of my biggest passions is going to the gym. There is nothing more rewarding than just you against you, you challenging your mind. Because your mind's going to give up before your body, and just seeing where that'll take you.
So true.
And just, it's like you're not lonely when you're just focusing on yourself. It's like you're taking yourself out on a date, and you're like, hey, we're going to do this today, and we're going to conquer this, and it's so rewarding. And then you get rewarded with endorphins, which is the most overlooked antidepressant there is
big
out
time.
there.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so Lauren, I have a question for you. So what are your relationships like now with other humans?
They're so much better because I'm bringing in like-minded people again. But this time, they're more elevated because I elevated myself.
Yep.
There are people that want to succeed and see others succeed. There are people that want to continue learning just like I do. I don't want to ever stop learning.
Yep. Yeah, and that does make a difference. This is like such an incredible conversation because, yes, you can be totally overly social and still be lonely, still be isolated. And so where you have found greater peace is in, like getting right with you.
Yes, getting right with myself.
And it was actually being outside, having time by yourself on purpose, learning to think some different thoughts and learning how to direct your thoughts and connecting with something that was bigger than you versus just putting yourself, trying to solve the isolation with putting yourself in lots of social situations. It's absolutely true. No question. Lauren, thanks so much for your comments and congratulations, by the way, that you broke that cycle and that you found something of great purpose and that you got to know yourself and you got to find what you were made for and begin to chart out a destiny that was bigger than the party scene and sleeping around and all of that kind of stuff. I'm really, really proud of you. And by the way, it has nothing to do with being young. It has everything to do with being lost. And you were lost. And that's what led you in there. Because there's people, trust me, I have some family members that are still partying like they're 16 and they're not. And their bodies are proving to them that they're not. And so I'm really proud of you. Congratulations on that huge breakthrough that you had. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, this is Dani Johnson. Let me ask you something. Do you dream about being more confident, more beautiful, more powerful? Are you that girl who never learned to wear makeup and now you're lost in a sea of YouTube videos? That busy mom who can't get enough sleep and just wants to feel pretty again? Or maybe you're that professional who wants a little more respect in the office. From the boardroom to the bedroom, celebrity makeup artist Xtina Harmsworth from XMH Beauty will help you. Xtina has a track record of making beauty easy on any budget. Her live classes, simple step-by-step professional beauty techniques and insider secrets will set you apart from the crowd. So don't sit on your dream another minute. Learn from the best. Get your exclusive free gift from Xtina today at xmhbeauty.com/Dani. That's xmhbeauty.com/DANI. The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
My name's Erin Hudson, and I'm from Huntington Beach, California. You know, I just have to share with you, I never thought I'd be up here in a million years, and I have to tell you, my story is not my story. My story is to help each one of you, to give you a little bit more hope. And as I share with you my story, I apologize up front, I get really emotional. We have been through hell and back. And I share this with you again to really give you hope, okay? Prior to coming to First Steps, we had filed for bankruptcy in 2010. I was a broken woman. My marriage was in a downward spiral. My kids were completely out of control. My business ruled my life night and day. And then I found Dani Johnson. Since attending First Steps to Success in July of 2012, my marriage has been restored. My kids are now the most respectable, loving children to one another and to their parents. We never traveled anywhere. We now travel around the world and have traveled with many of you that we consider close friends. We've gone to Belize the last 2 years, and I've been able to share with my children and show them how to serve others that are in more need than any of us happen to be. On top of that, our biggest accomplishment yet, I would have to say, is last month we paid off the last of our debt, and we paid off in the last 2 years and 2 months, $892,000. Wait, hold on, and some cents. $892,522 of debt. And we are now officially business and personal debt free. I have to say, this core report that Dani's going to equip you with today is going to change you. You're going to become a phenomenal champion communicator. And just with what she's going to teach you this afternoon, we're projected to hit $1 million. And I know it's because of what she's going to teach you in this next portion. And without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce my mentor and coach, America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Your life can be so much bigger, better, more useful if you choose to see yourself that way. You see, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. And as you see yourself, how you see you determines who you will choose to surround your life with. It chooses how you see you determines who your friends are. How you see you determines what kind of a career you go after. How you see you determines how you treat your body. How you see you determines who you will choose to be married to. How you see you determines how you act as a parent. How you see you determines every decision in your life. More importantly, how you see God, how you see the Creator, now even changes how you see you. If you saw you the way He sees you, you would be unstoppable. You'd be completely unstoppable. I got a revelation 25 years ago, and I heard His voice when I was a homeless woman looking for another line of cocaine. And where He showed me clearly, pick up your mat and walk. Walk away from these people you have surrounded yourself with. You know that these are not the people you should be with. Step up, rise up, and do something with your life. I am so glad that I began on a journey of seeing myself different than those who told me who I was. My stepfather, who told me I was worthless, fat, ugly, stupid, and could never do anything right. The family that I felt neglected in. The family of abuse. I let it define me. I am so very blessed that more than 2 decades ago, I stopped allowing my past define my future. You can start today. You can start right now. No longer allowing your past to define your future, no longer allowing those in your past who have hurt you or you who you've hurt yourself to define your future. Choose today to see yourself different, to see yourself better, to see yourself in the future of where you want to be and where you want to go, and look at yourself from that place, and then get on with it. I'd love to help you have the success that you desire to have, as we have helped millions of people all over the world, and you're next. Get a hold of the free book, First Steps to Wealth, right now. 866-760-8255. If this is your first time watching the show, we'd love to give it to you. It's our gift to you. You pay the shipping and handling to get it to your house, and we will pay for the $15 book. Start with page 1. And I promise you're not going to be able to put it down. And you're going to see a whole new life ahead of you when you follow simple strategies that I followed to go from homeless to millions. Free book. Get it now. DaniJohnson.com. Hope you enjoyed today's program. We will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online. This is the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson YouTube channel. We're super excited to have you here. And every single week, we're going to make sure that you get awesome videos for your business, career, making more money, saving money, annihilating your debt, as well as helping you to handle those really tough problems that you have with people at home, as well as at work. and taking those really good relationships you already have and causing them to flourish and grow. All you have to do is click that subscribe button right down here. Click that and you'll be subscribed to an amazing community of people, as well as some great videos that will help to improve your life. Thanks so much for being here. Subscribe now would be good. Just click it. I know you can see it. It's somewhere down here. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.